Picture Hazel. Hazel's a 7-year-old little girl who has cancer. She gets chemotherapy treatments frequently. She vomits. She's in a lot of pain. And she's lost her hair, as you can see here. What if I was to tell you that there's a potential solution for Hazel and millions of other people that is illegal? The government won't allow testing on it to see what the medical benefits really are because it's illegal. And you've probably guessed what this substance is already. It's marijuana. My name is Jay Mathewson, and I'm here today to talk to you about marijuana, why I think it should be legalized, and get your support when the opportunity comes for you to vote yes on legalizing marijuana, because that time is probably coming pretty soon. You've all seen the stereotypes, right? Our moms and dads told us about the potheads, standing on the corner, wearing their Bob Marley t-shirt, all doped up, can't concentrate, can't keep a job, so on and so forth. We've all heard the comedians talk about the stoners driving down the street 10 miles an hour for a bag of Cheetos or some Twinkies. Man, I'm so high. I'm smoking my PowerPoint clicker right now. But, are the stereotypes real? Or are they just stereotypes? If you look over here, Morgan Freeman, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Angelina Jolie, these are people who are pretty well known to have partaken. And I think they turned out okay, right? I don't think they fit the stereotype. So let's move beyond the stereotype and let's talk about the reality, okay? We all know kind of the common reasons. You may not know all the facts and data, but we all know the common reasons why marijuana should be legalized. Number one, Jocelyn Elders, the former Surgeon General of the United States of America, says in a CNN interview, marijuana is no worse than alcohol or cigarettes. The DEA says marijuana is not toxic, it's not lethal. According to the CDC, and contrary to what we probably all grew up believing, marijuana is not the gateway drug. I'm not going to be tripping on acid just because I decided to eat a special brownie, right? And we probably can guess this one. I think this is probably conservative, but according to an NBC News poll, 52% of Americans have tried it. And according to Time Magazine, 62% of Americans favor legalization. So even people like me who've never tried it, we favor it, right? And then there's the libertarian view, which is, why should the government tell me what I can and can't put inside my body if it doesn't affect you? Now there's the other side. White House cabinet members, academics, ambassadors. The Pope says nope to dope, right? And then Dr. Edward Pont with the American Academy of Pediatrics, who according to an interview with the State Journal Register says his number one reason for not wanting to legalize marijuana is because the impact that it will have on minors who he thinks will smoke pot as a result of it being legalized. And as I did the research and looked at the other side, that was the number one reason that I saw pretty consistently was the impact on minors. Well, I'm not advocating having pot available to minors. 21 and up, just like alcohol. We've already established it's no worse than alcohol. So I want to talk to you today about 4 legitimate reasons, even beyond the stuff we already talked about, 4 legitimate reasons to legalize marijuana. The first 3 are economic or financial, the impact it can have on tax revenues, the impact that it can have on jobs and the economy, the cost that we all spend as taxpayers on law enforcement today, and the medicinal benefits of marijuana. So let's talk about tax revenues. So we all know today, if 52% of Americans are doing it, and it's illegal, they're getting it from somewhere. It's grown and sold illegally. And even in states like Colorado and California where it's legal at a state level, it's not legal at a federal level. So what I say is, people are already doing it. It got proven benefits that we're going to talk about it. Let's legalize it. Let's tax it. Let's take that tax money and use it for something good. According to the Colorado Department of Revenue, in 2018, $266 million of tax revenue was brought in based on the marijuana industry. If you extrapolate that over the entire U.S. population, if it was legally, federally, and in every state, that's $15 billion a year. What could we use $15 billion for? Education, defense, healthcare, the list goes on and on. Secondly, I'd like to talk to you about the impact on jobs and the economy. So again, in Colorado, that was the case study that I used because it's been legally longer there than anywhere else. 18,000 full-time jobs were produced as a result of the marijuana industry. $2.4 billion in economic activity, according to the Washington Post. Again, if you extrapolate that out at a national level, that's hundreds of billions of dollars annually. And Forbes magazine says that marijuana will create more new jobs than manufacturing by 2020. So think about the hundreds of billions of dollars that this could bring in as a result. Third, I'd like to talk about the cost of law enforcement. We spend a ton of money, our money, taxpayers' money, putting non-violent criminals in jail for possession. In 2016, according to Newsweek, over 600,000 people were arrested just for possession. Not for dealing, not for violent crimes related to it, not for driving 10 miles an hour down the road to get some Twinkies, man. Just for possession, right? $3.6 billion spent in law enforcement, according to Newsweek. Now, again, what could we do with that money? Education, defense, healthcare, and so on. Let's talk about healthcare, because I think this is the single most important reason that we should legalize it. There are legitimate health-related benefits that are already proven right now, and that's with very limited studies because the government will not allow studies because it is illegal at a federal level. There are two key areas that I want to talk about related to medicinal use. The first one is pain management, and the second one is cancer. As we talk about pain management, according to Medical News Today, marijuana has a proven positive impact on pain management for nerve damage and inflammation. But how are we dealing with that right now? Because marijuana is not legal. Well, we're either dealing with the pain, we're not doing anything about it, or maybe taking some ibuprofen, which might help a little bit, might take the edge off, or prescription opioids. Now, I don't know about you, I would rather have somebody eat a special brownie or a gummy or smoke a joint if we think it's going to help them with pain management rather than prescription opioids. That's a much worse problem. Now let's talk about cancer. It's been proven that marijuana usage helps with pain and nausea associated with chemotherapy. And according to the American Cancer Society, there are some forms of cancer that marijuana will actually kill cancer cells. What could that mean for us if the government will allow these studies that we talked about? So you remember Hazel? Well, what if we lived in a world where she didn't have to have chemo or radiation? She wasn't vomiting all the time. She had minimal pain. She had a full head of hair. She had a normal life. And who knows, maybe even a cure to cancer someday or a cure for some forms of cancer. So I think the answer is obvious. Legalize marijuana. If it could help Hazel, if it could help with the economic impact to support the research to help Hazel, why would we not do that? I think the answer is obvious. I think you'll agree. Thank you so much.